Hello, this is Amber Rain Davis. Welcome to my YouTube channel and blog at notableink.com. Today I'll be making a card for the Level 2 Altenew Educator Certification Program. This one was inspired by Altenew Academy's class Masking Unleashed, taught by Svetlana Shayevich. We'll be using the Poppy Field stamp and die set, which is a United We Flourish stamp set, a collaboration between Altenew and Essentials by Ellen. It comes with the dies, and you can see I had some extra flowers from stamping today. Also using the bold alphabet die set. We'll be starting off with some masking paper. I'm going to be creating a card today that's 3.5 inches by 9 inches tall. My masking paper wasn't tall enough, so I put two pieces together with tape. I have some guidelines on the front. The first line is at 3.5 inches, which is the width of the card. The other two lines are for me to line up my letters. You can see the bold alpha dies on the left are 1 inch in width, and I'm going to be cutting off the left side of this mask, and I want the letters to bleed over the edge of the mask. You're going to see what I mean when we get into the ink blending. So I'm just taping all those dies together since they're lined up, and I'm going to arrange that on the front of the card. I want to line that up vertically on the card front, or the masking paper rather. I'm aligning the left side of those letters with my left guideline. I've die cut that. You want to make sure that you save all of your pieces. You're going to need those when you're placing your mask. So I've die cut it, and then I went ahead and cut on the inside line on my paper trimmer, and I was just using my scissors because it didn't go all the way through the release paper. So I'm going to take this now and line it up on my card front, and I decided I needed to use the paper trimmer again to cut off that right hand side outside of my guideline. And I'm just going to place that down. I'm only taking up a small part of the release paper so that I have more control over exactly where the masking paper is going to stick. I want to make sure it's aligned perfectly to that edge. Once I get up to the top of this masking paper, the two pieces are going to separate. So I'm just going to take that piece off again, just removing a little bit of the release paper, and I'll get that lined up. Once we have the main area of our masking down, we're going to fit the letters back in and put in the inside of the letters. So I'm going to start with the O, and then I'll move on to the rest of the letters. Make sure you burnish your masking paper down well. And now we're going to do some ink blending on these letters. So I wanted the letters to be fully inked, and then I'm going to blend that out into the left-hand side of the card panel. So this L is closed. It has a hard edge on either side, but all of the letters above it are slightly cut off. And so those are going to blend into the left side background panel. I'm going to do the solid ink blending on the letters, and then that left-hand side is going to be more dispersed so that it has the appearance of a light sky with clouds. It took quite a while to get even and thick ink coverage on these letters. I wanted to make sure that I didn't pull up any of the masking. You are going to see me pause in just a second, and this is quite a bit of ink blending. I'm not going to lie, I did think to myself, I wonder if anyone has created an exercise class for crafters. My arm and my shoulder definitely were getting tired. I definitely feel like I need some better upper body strength. I don't know if it's because I did ink blending yesterday, but I fully support anybody who is going to create that exercise class if you haven't already. So moving on to the top of the letters here, you're going to see that as I am doing the letters, I continue to go back down on the right hand edge of those letters to add some additional ink. It was at this point that I decided I wanted the letters to have an ombre effect, and it didn't dawn on me until just a minute from now that I probably should just use a darker ink. So we are going to do that next to add that ombre effect. You can see that part of my S fell out there, so I just placed that S back in and put that small part back in and made sure that I pushed it down really firmly. So moving on to the darker color, I think that's Persian blue, maybe it's Prussian blue. I'll have the colors of the inks listed below. So we're just going to go through and complete all of the letters so that they have the ombre effect down the right hand side. Moving on to the background on the left, I'm just using a piece of Post-it tape so that I don't get ink on my fingers. I don't want to have any smudges anywhere. And now I'm doing much, much lighter ink blending. So I'm leaving some white space intentionally to give the effect of clouds, and I'm just making sure my primary focus is blending out the edge of those letters so that it looks seamless. So we're going to continue to ink blend here until the card panel is complete. We're going to create 3 poppies to put on the card front. I'm going to actually do 6 so that I can play around with different color variations. So I'm going to speed through this because you guys have seen me use layering stamps before. Biggest thing is you want to make sure that you line up your layers well, and you want to make sure that you have enough contrast between the different layers so that you get a really good look. Also, don't be afraid of mixing the different ink cube sets. You don't have to stay within the same ink family. For instance, I switched from the Sunset Red group to Coral Berry, which is in a different one, and then I also used Grapevine from a different one to just add variation and different amount of contrast. So I die cut out those flowers. The stems, there's only one stem in the pack and it wasn't long enough, so I just stamped it twice in a row. I'm okay with it being a little jagged. I think that shows the true character of an actual stem. It's not going to be completely straight. There's going to be bends. There's going to be little knots in it. So I'm going to cut out and fussy cut out one very long one, and then I'll do the 2 short ones. And I am going to back 2 of the stems with foam tape. I'm just attaching that to a piece of Post-it so that I can hold on to it. That's a trick that comes in pretty handy. Once I'm done fussy cutting the stems, we're going to start assembling the card. So here's the big reveal. We're going to go ahead and take off the masking paper, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I think it looks fantastic. I love the white space on the side. It really created crisp edges, so I was really pleased with that. So just take off all your pieces. I use the tweezers to make sure I don't smudge any of the ink anywhere else, but it's pretty good and dry. I have all of my flowers. I'm going to trim a really, really thin piece of foam tape to go behind 2 of the stems. I also went ahead and put foam tape behind the flowers. I got my basic arrangement there, and what I did is I left a space in the foam tape to be able to sit over any of the stems that were popped up. The one stem that's not popped up, I slid it underneath the other stem just to add some depth and interest. You want to make sure that all of your stems aren't straight. That's not how flowers are really in nature. So it really adds a nicer organic feel to your card if they're not straight. I'll go ahead and trim off the excess. I'm just hiding some extra foam tape underneath there. And then we'll go ahead and embellish the flowers with some clear Wink of Stella to add a little sparkle and shine. Once we have the flowers all set, I'm going to go ahead and pop this up. Actually, I'm not going to pop it up. I'm just going to put it straight flat down onto the card front. You can see that I have my score tape on there, but I haven't taken off all of the release paper. This stuff is super sticky, so you need to make sure it's completely lined up before you peel it off. So I'm going to hold it in place in a lined up top and take off that strip on the right first. Then I'll go ahead and remove the other side as well. I'm going to add some clear sequins to the card, and then this card will be done. Here's the finished card, and you can really see that Wink of Stella and the nice shine on the flowers there. Hope you enjoyed this card today. If you did, subscribe to my YouTube channel and blog and hit the like button below. Have a fantastic day, and thanks for stopping by.